left William Creek. What radio frequency are you monitoring?
Monitoring both at 127.8. There's a NOTAM out, a special frequency for the Lake Eyre area. I'm also monitoring 126.7 because I believe there's been quite a bit of traffic using the frequency that's in the Urson. You've got to read those NOTAMs very carefully. Been into Adelaide for a few years.
Yep.
So I've spent quite a bit of time the previous weeks just going through On Track and reading through that visual pilot guide. It's a great resource full of really useful information. Field Tower, Cessna 172 Echo Delta Deltas, Outer Harbour, maintaining 1,500 information Golf. Request airways clearance and unfamiliar.
Echo Delta Delta, Parafield Tower. Join right downwind, runway 26 right, maintain 1,500.
Alright, well, we made it to Parafield. We had a great flight. As you heard before, Sal called in unfamiliar, and the control tower were fantastic. They helped us all the way through to the landing. They even helped us taxi to this parking spot. Now look, it's really important when you come to a controlled aerodrome and you're not familiar with the area, make sure you're not afraid to ask for help.
Echo Delta Delta, traffic in your 3 o'clock, squad remaining in a circuit runway 03 right. When ready, make a right turn direct to Hope Valley Reservoir.
Make a right turn to Hope Valley Reservoir.
With lots of low cloud around, Sally Ann's had to make a weather decision today, so she's included the Hope Valley VFR route in her flight plan, and she's been given her clearance from ATC.
Echo Delta Delta, you're leaving Class Charlie airspace, identification and control service terminated. Squawk 1200, frequency change approved.
Squawking 1200, frequency change approved. Thanks for that, Echo Delta Delta.
Now this is a beautiful part of the coast down there. Is there anything else that you have to consider when you're flying along like this?
Yeah, if you're flying out over water, just make sure that you're in gliding distance to a suitable landing area. The other thing in this area here, it looks like there could be hang gliders off these cliffs here.
Cancel set track direct to Natchez.
So just keep a good eye out for those. Traffic Horsham, Cessna 172 Echo Delta Deltas overhead. We'll be descending on the dead side and joining crosswind runway 26. Traffic Horsham.
Sal and the crew stop off in Horsham to talk to Tony Brand. Tony is a lamey and has a good reputation for maintaining aircraft that do quite a bit of outback flying.
Preparation's the key to success in going from A to B safely and with the minimum of breakdowns. So pilots have got to be on the ball and thorough daily inspections, and actually get in there the day before they leave or even prior to that to make sure they've got a clear maintenance release so they can fly the trip they want. Having a good look around the aircraft to see that things like tyres are inflated to the correct pressures, oleos are up to their right extensions. The maintenance release is used as a means of communication between the maintenance folk and the pilots there of what's due on an aircraft and when. The pilot's going into the outback, that's one of the first things he considers. Have I got enough hours left on my maintenance release to do my trip? And is there any endorsements? In outback Australia, there's not too many maintenance facilities around and personnel that might be able to do the likes of, say, transponder calibrations and tests.
It's not even lunchtime yet, and our crew have departed Horsham and are now headed for the coastal town of Warrnambool to refuel. Sally Ann has checked the Ursa and seen that there's no mention of fuel at their next stop of King Island, which means that fuel is not available there. Because the next stage of their flight is going to take them over water, Sally Ann's planned the crossing at 5,500 feet. But in case they have to fly lower than 2,000 feet due to cloud, she's making sure Alex is wearing his life jacket and knows how to use it. Even though in this instance there is no requirement for Sally to carry a life raft, she has decided to do so for safety reasons and making sure it's accessible.
Alright, well we've just taken off from Warrnambool, we refuelled and we're on our way to Cape Otway. We're going to be heading out over Bass Strait towards Tasmania with a stop at King Island. When exactly do we start our overwater skeds, Sally?
I'm going to speak to Melbourne Centre, just approaching Cape Otway, and I'll arrange 15-minute skeds. What that means is that I'll have to speak to them or just give them an ops normal call every 15 minutes.
So they're basically tracking you on every call?
Yeah, that's right. If they haven't heard from me when I've given my next estimated time when I'd speak to them, they will start to try and contact us.
So when you're establishing skeds, the information that we need from you, we don't normally have the flight plan available at the local unit for VFR flights, so what we need is just basic details. We need aircraft type, a POB, the route that's being flown, and the reporting schedule that you want. So normally that would be 15 minutes, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 10 minutes. So it's really up to you as to what you want. When the controller gets that, they'll set that up normally on a timer at their operating position. We expect the pilots to report at the nominated schedules, but if they don't, then the air traffic controller will chase them up. If they don't get a reply to that, then we'll start search and rescue action. So that be first of all communications checks, and then we'll refer the case on to AUSAR and they'll start search and rescue action. That might be calling out helicopters or whatever it is.
As with any emergency, the information you pass to air traffic control in your emergency radio call will be crucial to determining the type of search and rescue response that needs to be mounted. It is important that pilots can confidently make standard PAN and Mayday radio calls when required. The type of information that needs to be included in these sorts of calls: the name of the station you're intending to contact, for example, Melbourne Centre, your aircraft call sign, your aircraft type, the nature of your emergency, your intentions, your current altitude or flight level, your heading, and other information that could be useful in mounting a search and rescue response. Remember, the most important piece of information for search and rescue will be position, so don't forget to include a position in your emergency call.
Sal, I was just noticing you're taking us over a couple of islands on the way to Devonport. Is there a reason for that?
So we're island hopping. It just makes it easier to navigate, and in case we have an engine failure, a bit closer to being in gliding distance somewhere to land.
Always a good cause. Sal, I know this is going to sound like a really dumb question, but when you're flying VFR and you've got a section of water where you can actually see the island in front of you, how do you then navigate?
You just maintain your heading and make sure your directional gyro's aligned with your compass, and what you have to do is dead reckon. So even though it's going across the water, you say after 10 minutes get your 10-minute marker.
So our safari crew has made it to Tasmania. As you've seen, they've covered a lot of miles over widely varied terrain today, so they'll be looking forward to a decent meal and a warm bed in Devonport tonight. Don't forget, if there's any subject you'd like to know about, have a look at our safety topics page. There are new topics being released each episode. We've been lucky with weather up until now, with tailwinds and blue skies. But as we head south, those roaring 40s could really start changing the outlook, so tune in next episode.